All right, Miss Burke here. I'm going to walk you through these notes on multi-step equations. So you should have already mastered two-step equations and inequalities at this point, as well as combining like terms and using the distributive property. We're going to combine all those skills into now multi-step equations. So the first step is to apply the distributive property first. I'll make it all caps so you guys know what goes in the blank. Which means if you have parentheses, you've got to distribute and get rid of them. Then you combine like terms. And typically we want to get all variables on the left side of the equal sign, because we read from left to right. So when we see that variable on the left, it really is just what makes sense to us. All right, so I'm going to try to show my math here the best that I can. So to distribute, 3 times x gives us 3x. 3 times -2, because we're looking at that -2 right here. -2 is like -2. So 3 times -2 is -6. So I know I need to be -6 equals 12. All right, so my next one. Now I'm down to a two-step equation. That was it. All you had to do was distribute for that first step. So now I need to add 6 to each side. And so that eliminates it because of the inverse property. -6 plus 6 is 0. So now I have 3x equals 12. And the opposite of multiplying by 3 is, let's see, dividing by 3. So I'm going to divide by 3 on each side. And I'm going to come out with x equals 4. I could check my answer by plugging it back in. 4, because I said x is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 4 minus 2 is 2, and 3 times 2 is 6. I see my mistake. It was a legit mistake. Plus 6, this should have been 18. I don't know where I got 12 from. I guess I was still carrying it down. And 18 divided by 3 gives us 6. So let's try this again. 6 minus 2 is 4, and 3 times 4 is 12. I couldn't make that up, folks. I legit made a mistake, which is the reason why you want to check your answers. All right, so let's look at number 2. On number 2, instead of distributing, I need to combine my like terms. I have 5n and 3n. I need to get those together. So 5n plus 3n gives me 8n. I keep my 6 there. It's not a like term. It has to be by itself. So now I have 8n plus 6 equals 22. I'm going to subtract 6. Oops. On each side. Let's see if I can try not to mess this up this time. But it's okay to make mistakes. Okay, so that cancels. I'm left with 8n equals 22 minus 6. I'm not gonna lie, I'm using a calculator because I don't want to mess it up this time. 16. So then I need to divide each side by 8. And I'm going to be left with n equals 2. So if I plug that back in, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 6 is 16, plus 3 times 2, which is 6. 16 plus 6 gives me 22. Pause this video if you need to write this down, or if I went too fast and you want to review it. I'm going to continue to the second part of the worksheet. Let me see if I can move these up. I had to convert this from a Word file, which is why it looks a little weird. Okay, Now you'll notice we've got a variable on both sides. I've got an m on the left and an m on the right. So now I need to get them together. When we wanted to move a number, like up here, we did the opposite. So if I wanted to move the 6, I used the inverse, which was positive 6, to move it to the other side. We're going to do the same idea here. I usually like my variables on the left, but in this case, I'm going to move it to the right. I can move all it back in the end. So the opposite of negative 10m would be positive 10m. So I'm going to add 10m to both sides. I'm not separating the 10 and the m yet. I want to get my like terms together. So those cancel out, and I'm left with 36 equals negative 18m. So now on my next line, I need to separate the 18 and the m. So I need to divide by negative 18. Now I'm ready to separate the 18 from that m. So divide by negative 18. So now I'm going to get that negative 2 equals m, which I could always rewrite as m equals negative 2. Plug that back in and check. Negative 2 times negative 10 gives me positive 20. 20 plus 36 gives me 56. And if I come over here, negative 28 times negative 2 gives me positive 56. They equal the same number, which means my answer is correct. Now, number 4, we don't need to use our distributing or combining like terms. We just have 3 equation steps to do instead of 1 or 2 like you've done in the past. So I want to get rid of what's furthest away from the variable first. I want to get rid of that dividing by 5. The opposite of dividing by 5 is multiplying by 5. So I want to multiply both sides by 5. Next, that gives me 2x plus 3 equals 7 times 5 is 35. Now I'm down to a 2-step equation. Once I got rid of that 5 hanging out in the bottom, this should look familiar now. So minus 3, minus 3. So this was my second step. So I have 2x equals 32. Third step, I want that x by itself, so divide by 2, divide by 2. And x equals 16. Again, I could plug it in and check my answer. 16 times 2 is 32, plus 3 is 35. 35 divided by 5 is 7. I hope you have found this video helpful. Here's the whole screen one last time. If you'd like to make sure you've copied everything down correctly. Thank you.